Hey guys, Banana Luck here and welcome back to another Watch Your Rums video. So today we're back to talk about the Artemis Hatsutt banner that's going on tomorrow, and the big question that everyone probably has. Should you summon for both of them? So I ran through my other video, Artemis is a great hero, so is Hatsutt, but do you really need them? Because I found myself asking that question quite a few times. And we're gonna break down just that, and without further ado, let's get into it. And first of all, let's talk about Hatsutt. She's a beast, not just for Gear 3. If you have a Torador.com, she's great even for, GVG as well. You can see that I'm using her actually right here in GVG. And when I usually have her really shine is that I place her towards the back so that when I'm not sure if this replay will showcase it, but basically having her at the back means that if mobs actually sit through, Hatsutt will take care of it. And because there's only arrogance defending the air, Hatsutt is here. If air units come in, Hatsutt can also take care of that. So she's great not just for Gear 3, but even for content as such. And also Arena for AoE, air attack, I use her extensively because I don't have Boris. So you can see that at this range she doesn't trigger her ultimate, but if any enemies slip through beyond that, she's gonna trigger, but it doesn't look like this guy is gonna trigger it. Yeah. I don't think his... If someone tries to dock this or use like a lot of flyers, then yeah, her ultimate will pop. But you can see so far it has not popped at all yet. So I actually run Ageless Wrath on her here, so it's not actually that bad. Yeah, it's not even gonna make it in time. So unfortunately I can't showcase it, but that's how I use Hatsutt. I place her at the back. If enemies try to swarm me with the dogs or the necromancer, Hatsutt takes care of that very well because she'll just activate her ultimate from there. And I use her in like air attack arena as well. Her ulti comes up so quickly. I'm just gonna showcase a fight here. Let's maybe take a look at this one. Yeah. So air attack is very straightforward. You're gonna use Hatsutt. AoE maybe not that much, but she's still gonna be one of the top picks if you have her built well. So my Hatsutt doesn't come out until a lot later because the first few waves are generally single target, so you don't really care about that. I think it's only from the third wave onwards that I have Hatsutt placed it. And because Hatsutt is a second marksman, so you can see that red buff that just appeared. That is activating Silas's A3, which means that Hatsutt gets a 15% bonus. So Silas, and you can see the ultimate just doing work here. Our enemy having to rely on Dolores, don't think he has Hatsutt. Yeah, I'm not sure if this enemy will survive. Okay, looks like he can. I'm gonna see Hatsutt just wipe out the mobs that are the area, and then yep, same thing. And yep, there you go. Hatsutt also clears out the last wave for me, so for air attack, Hatsutt is really important if you don't want to use Boris. And I run her in my AoE team as well. She does the most damage there. Over here, not that much because you haven't really seen her in the last few waves yet. And unfortunately, I'm that too low of a rank to showcase that. But beyond Gear 3, that's really where I use Hatsutt, and I think she's just a great pick overall. You're gonna use her in a lot of places, even in like campaign content and possibly things that will come out in the future. I'm sure there'll always be a place for Hatsutt because of the invisibility and the burst that she offers at such a ridiculously low cost. So next hero we're gonna talk about, that's gonna be more interesting, Artemis. No one has seen him in the actual game. We have seen him in Forerunner, but you haven't really seen him in the likes of GVG or Arena, so you don't really know where he will stand. But most probably he's just gonna be in Gear 1 and Gear 4, and that's due to his anti-heal. when he activates his ultimate, which lasts for a total of 15 seconds and 20 seconds at max level. And this is also especially important in GR4, which is the new dungeon that's coming up. I've seen the Crypt's lifesteal for over 500,000 per hit. So no way in hell you're gonna clear this without anti-heal unless you kill the enemies before they reach you, or you have very strong northern units with shields. So if you're shielded, the lifesteal doesn't actually work. So do you need Artemis if you've already cleared one gear at 121? The answer is going to be no. Do you need Artemis if you're having troubles or you potentially could have troubles afflicting anti-heal? Let's examine what's available at the moment. So Boris, unfortunately, is not going to be relevant because he only inflicts his anti-heal right over here when enemies are inflicted with freeze. And because the enemies are immune to crowd control effects at round 6 of the gear dungeon, which is the last one in GR4, you won't get to inflict anti-heal, and that means that Boris is just useless there, except for the damage that he does. But since he doesn't do more damage unless he freezes enemies, he's not as relevant as compared to the likes of Kamek. So Boris is out of the picture. Other fella that we're going to talk about is going to be where is he? Lucia. So Lucia does the same thing, afflicts anti-heal, it lasts for 15 seconds in total. And if you have Lucia, you'll be completely fine. You can probably get away with it. And if let's say you only have, because you need 2 anti-heal units, one at the top, one at the bottom, the other option that you're going to go for is probably going to be Kriya, which at A1, there's a chance that, she will inflict anti-heal when she's attacking. And there's also Demi, which is much more exclusive, where, she'll inflict anti-healing when she casts her ultimate, which lasts for 15 seconds. So obviously there are choices out there, but as I said, if you don't want to do anti-heal, the next strategy will then to be use the northern units. So ideally for this, you will need King Haas, you will need Valkyra, or sorry, Valkyra is another separate story. So let's talk about shielding first. King Haas, Oleg, and Brokir, because all of them have shielding inbuilt in their ultimates, and Brokir in his passive. So if you do that, then you won't have to worry about having another set of anti-heal, because you can just use shielded units to, prevent any lifesteal from the mobs. The reason why I mentioned Valkyra is because Valkyra has a very huge range at A1, and if you worry about clearing 2 waves, Valkyra can actually take the top wave of the GR4 dungeon without the mobs even approaching you, so you can kill them before they even reach you. So if that's the case, you're not going to need 2 anti-heal units. So if you have a Demi, if you're that lucky, if you have a Lucia, you're going to be completely fine. I think with Zealous' exclusive artifact, the anti-heal is not going to be nearly enough, because it's going to be I think it was a 45 or 50% when you max out his artifact. So given that I just told you that the Crypt's lifesteal for 500,000, 50% reduction is still like what, 300,000, 250,000. So that's definitely not gonna work. So you're definitely gonna need some anti-heal on the bottom wave. And if let's say you have an anti-healer and you want to assign it to the top and do a traditional method of killing by anti-healing them and bursting your ultimates, that's fine. And then at the bottom, you can use like a King Haas, Brokir, or Oleg combined together to, have enough shielding such that you actually survive through the whole thing. So definitely it's not as big of a deal as people make out of it, because Artemis is really going to be only useful in GR1, GR4, which is the dungeon, and there's quite a bit of strategies out there where people have been also experimenting to see how they can, clear the waves without actually using any anti-heals. One of the alternatives that people have suggested or talk about is using Mari, so slowing the mobs. So the mobs are not, they are immune to crowd control, but they are not immune to the slows itself. So that's one way that people are examining how they can do it. And also the Valkyra method that I mentioned on the top waves, where she has just a huge enough range to actually hit the units. So is it a must summon for you guys? I think it really depends, because at the end of the day, this is a 10x event. It's not a 2x 10x event. So you might have to hit PD a lot of times for like a combined chance of like what, 36% or 38% to actually hit either one of these legendaries. So the odds are not that great, to be honest, if you start mathing it out. And I wouldn't be too pressured to try to get Artemis, because after all, he's not an exclusive hero. You're still gonna get him in the future, and you know, Hatsutt on the other hand, she's incredibly rare, but a lot of people have survived without her for a long time. So in my opinion, if you do not have the funds to go for it, I'll say you can save it up, wait for a better banner to come along. There's rumored to be a Hackzilla 2 banner that's coming, and that might be a 2x 10x event, so who knows? We haven't had that for a long time. So just want to put the outward out there, you know, don't be too pressured into wanting to summon for this weekend. I do think that for GR4 specifically, the global servers are going to find a way to clear it without anti-heal. Like, it's going to happen for sure. Whereas Hatsutt on the other hand, of course, if you want to gamble for her, go for it. I love her. I use her in almost every content, every part of the game, so I definitely advocate for her. But if you're trying to go for Artemis, I will ask you to like stop and think twice and think, you know, whether you really need him, because I think Hatsutt is really the, you know, hero that you should be eyeing for, in my opinion here. So that's gonna be it for the video, guys. I know it went on for longer than I expected, but just wanted to share out there, you know, even if you don't have Artemis, what's gonna happen for you in GR4. And you know, even if you have Artemis, if you don't have good enough gear, you're not gonna clear GR4. Yeah, that's not gonna happen, because it's super endgame content. So having Artemis alone is not gonna, you know, clear GR4 for you. So that's gonna be it for the video, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it down in the comment section below. And of course, I wish you all the best in your summons tomorrow. I'll probably be doing the summons as well, because I do want to try out Artemis and just play around with him. I do not think he's going to be some overpowered, you know, nonsense that is Boros. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.